Hi, I'm Shraddha Nirpath, a data and AI professional, and today I'll be taking you through the usage of GoHighLevel API. So I think as an automation lead, one of my first priorities would be to understand what's working for the business and how we can optimize that and what's not. There are standard tools, so I'm not a fan of using a chainsaw where scissors is required. So that's also one of the major considerations I would implement. Um, yeah, so let's delve a little bit into, as we said, the use of GoHighLevel API. So when it comes to coding these days, a lot of people would prefer to take the vibe coding way. However, as experienced, professionals in the field, we tend to want to write code on our own. So, when it comes to overall coding, like you'll see on the project here we've created, which is app, which we will be using to interface with GoHighLevel, can be generated entirely. See, all these files were generated within VS Code by GitHub Copilot. So, I think let's maybe go through the system or the prompt that was used to generate all of these files. So in prompting, there's generally a structure. So here we have a role defined, some considerations that it would require an agent orchestrator, it would interface with GoHighLevel. There's obviously security considerations like OWASP and POPIA. And that just specifies your tasks. And then to take it further, the goals and objectives were specified, hard requirements, which generally would be your constraints, also supplied here, data security as well. So this is all within one prompt. The design requirements, so perhaps your team has a standard way of pushing forward APIs or pieces of code, and you could define this here. So with prompt engineering, you can specify different thinking options. So there's chain of thought. There is think, solve, verify. So we've tried to talk to that there. Output formatting is very important, and this is clearly stipulated here. I think with prompting, as with most processes, garbage in and garbage out. So as you can see, this is it appears to be a 5-page prompt because we've been very explicit. We've got, so there is one shot and few shot prompting. So we've given an example with some final instructions that then generates the code. So let's quickly go through the structure of what I would call a robust and scalable production-ready app. So we have an API folder which which has your main code, but I think let's hold on with that. I'd first like to demonstrate in business terms what we're doing today. So the process map. So what we're aiming to do is look at new lead conversations that appear within GoHighLevel, and then our system would then it's a secure system, we would like to call it, and it would then score the lead and write that information back to GHL. Now, this is kind of different from directly, calling an LLM, because as you will see when we delve into the code now, there are many security measures that are in place to prevent any kind of, let's say, mishaps with the use of an LLM. So back to the API folder. So you can see our endpoints have been defined there. So this is the webhook endpoint. So what this does is basically read in information from GHL. So that type of information. So this code is specifically dealing with conversations. However, at this point, we are using the GHL sandbox, which we have here. you can see it's very similar to, or it is the same environment, and we've got a list of contacts here. So we're on the contacts page. This is a sandbox environment which is safe for testing. However, within this environment, conversations are not, or are restricted. So if I go here, message contacts, and if I want to message Pennywise via email, if I said create conversation, we see this pop up on screen. Let's click on that. Oops. Okay, so it appears we're having some issue. However, within the sandbox there, it limits you actually having conversations. So for the purposes of testing this out, we'll just go through this code, and I think after that I will show you a quick demo. So back to the app folders. Then we have the core, so we've got config.py. So this actually, it formats our keys. So if we scroll a little that way, so all of these APIs and services that we're calling, they require us to have keys that are stored securely in the .env file, which I'm not going to open on video. We have definitions for how logging should be done. We've got some additional security to verify the API key and add a webhook signature. Then we've got middleware. So with APIs, rate limiting is essential, and that's what's been implemented here, as well as guarding against large request sizes. For the repositories, we've got an audit repository. So this dumps any logs into the file, the repository file. And now the interesting part, which is the services. So first we've got the AI guard. Now you can see we've got some injection patterns that have been predefined, the system prompt. Now this is specifically for the agent that will produce the lead score. And we've got a developer prompt as well as a user prompt that then would make or score the lead and make a recommendation. We've got our GHL client, which now calls on the API for GHL to fetch conversations. And then that conversations would be processed. So we've got an LLM service here. And in this case, we are using OpenAPI as, that is what we have tokens for. The orchestrator, which now that runs all of the code bits, and you can see that it summarizes the conversation, and it in turn it produces what we need. So yeah, we can also see that the detect prompt injection is present, so that before we act on anything, we are aware of whether this is safe to handle or not. Then we've got PII redactor. This is because, again, of POPIA compliance. So any of the personal information, determined by these regex strings would then be redacted before use. So essentially, you would then run.py, and so when we're running it locally, we use ngrok. We've also got a readme, and before you run this anywhere, you would need to read or run requirements.py. So that's basically the code structure. So what we're going to do now is, so I've abstracted the main part, which is here where we've got the prompt injection report, and the prompt actually runs. So if we run that, we see that runs. Then we've just got a simple function here that makes a call to the OpenAI's API. You can see that we've got the key stored as a secret. It's using GPT-4 Mini. Temperature set at 0 because we don't need hella creativity right now. So we've got our prompt structured here, and it is meant to return this structure that we then will be able to use. You'll see in the next step. So if we run conversation now, so if we say, hi, I'm looking for, let's say, yeah, okay, let's leave that as that. So the result has been formatted such that because we are doing this within a video and we need to do this quickly, we're going to use Postman. So I want to show you the context in our sandbox environment. So we have Pennywise and we have Alex Doe. So what we will be doing now by submitting a post request, we will be adding a new contact now with the lead score. So let's say the person's name is Sarah and surname window. Okay, then we got, so fun fact, GHL does not allow duplicate cell phone or email numbers in different contacts. So we are now going to remove this and paste that there. Maybe we'll say it's 71 if you want. Now, we're just doing this for demonstration purposes. Obviously, this would run as an entire system here. However, it does require some debugging that we will not get into right now in this video, but if you would like to see this working in action, please do hire me. And yeah, so now that we've inputted our lead score, let's drop it lower. So as you can see, the word custom field appears, and that's because here in GoHighLevel, the normal table did not include a lead score. So I inserted that, on GHL, and then I'm able to update it from here. So this location ID obviously references the account in which we are posting to. There is also, this is our, sorry about that. This is our token that we're using for the sandbox. So that's under authorization. So now what we're going to do is we're going to send the request. So let's go back to the body. All right, we're happy with that. And you'll notice that there is no Sarah within context here. But when we run this, okay, I'm just gonna let that run. Okay, it looks like we've got a favorable response. And if we go here and update, okay, it's taking a bit of a while. All right, contacts are loading. And you see now we have Sarah window, which we were able to create from the API. So this generally just demonstrates both my ability to produce robust and scalable code, but also drive impact. I'm ever willing to, adopt new technologies, but adopt them in a way that makes it impactful and deliver, the deliverables are what is most important. I am also aware of how the the developer marketplace works, because this required a bit of setup. So you can see that we've put in our webhook here, and we've enabled certain things. So we've got a profile for an app. We've got apps in testing. We've configured secrets. Yes. So yeah, that's basically how GoHighLevel could be used, and I think this is just a very small part of a larger system that would be built, um, you know, but it does again demonstrate my confidence and capabilities to deliver. Thank you for watching. Have a great day further. Bye.